Are you guys ready for episode 4 of Miss Marvel?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it. All right, episode 4 is entitled Seeing Red. We start with Kamala and her mom flying to Pakistan to meet Sana. They try for like some comedic relief here right off the bat, where like they're kind of fighting with this poor guy reading the paper like in between them, but it's whatever. So they get to Karachi. They go to make their way to Sana's house, and like I thought this was kind of pointless because like Sana and Kamala have a conversation. But she basically tells us what we already know, which is that Aisha used the bangle to save her on that night of the partition, like the trail of stars thing that led her to the train, and that the train in the vision was the train in the partition story they told in an earlier episode. Like, was there anything revelatory here?
Yeah, not really.
Yeah.
So, another thing is, like, what happened to Aisha? Is she still alive somewhere?
I mean, that's what we don't know yet. I kind of think she is.
Yeah, but it's... I don't know. They didn't talk about her.
Yeah, like she must have met her husband and had the kid while she was still part of that clandestine group, right? Because that's the same night she sent her kid back to her husband. So she was like living in that group and has a family. Like, that's kind of weird.
Yeah, I mean, that's something we don't know is like, was her like great grandfather, and for that matter, like the father of Kamran, like, are they themselves part jinn, or are they completely human?
No.
We haven't really figured that out yet.
Yeah.
Kamala has like this short vision while she's sleeping that basically tells her to like find the train. So like now there's this sequence where like she's hanging out with her cousins in Karachi, and I just wrote like there's a like Karachi tourism montage of like her in the streets.
Oh, yeah.
That's another kind of thing. It was like they introduce the cousins, and you kind of think maybe they're gonna be part of it, and then she just like ditches them.
Yeah.
Right.
And also, like, you don't know the city, and you're just gonna ditch like your family to wander off by yourself to go see a train.
Exactly.
It was random.
Yeah, exactly. So she's like, "Oh, I'm gonna go find the train station," and they're like, "Oh, that's boring.
Yeah, have fun.
Yeah, peace out."
You're on your own in a city of millions of people.
So like she finds the train station, and for some reason, like she just randomly like puts on her mask. I don't know if there was really a reason for that.
There was like a sign that said, "Warning: you're under surveillance" or something.
Oh, okay.
And I don't exactly know why that would prompt you to put on a mask. But
It just seems more suspicious.
just in case they're surveilling me.
They've already seen me without the mask.
Right.
Let me just put it on.
But it turns out to be convenient because she gets in a fight with somebody else.
She's like, or they're like, they have the footage, and they're like, "This is weird. A Southeast Asian person in Karachi."
Check all the local mosques and temples.
But yeah, like you said, she's immediately confronted by a knife-throwing man with a red scarf.
Everybody knows she's American, so now they'll be looking for an American.
So yeah, this guy in the red scarf, like, he says she senses that she has the Noor. So we find out later, not right now, but later, that his name's Kareem, and he goes by Chemo, I guess. Anyway, they have this stupid fight, and like you were saying, like, yeah, she like will make her like pedestals or whatever, and like he'll throw a knife at him, and it'll just shatter. But also at one point, like, he threw a knife and, like, she caught it or stopped it or whatever. But, like, seemingly, like, it would have killed her probably if she didn't.
Yeah.
She did, like, she put, like a pad right for her hand.
Right.
It'd be funny if it, like, shattered and went
Just went through her hand.
These things are useless.
That would have instantly made me like this show like, 10 times more.
It's like, she needs practice.
But yeah, they just kind of have this like play fight, and it stops when he reveals that he knows about Aisha, her great grandmother. He takes her to this restaurant, which has a secret entrance that goes to this place that houses the Red Daggers, which is this group of people he's in league with. He's like one of the Daggers or whatever. They're introduced to their leader. His name's Waleed. He also knows of Aisha. Apparently, their goal is to protect people from the unseen, the clandestines. So yeah, okay. So this is where we find out that there's that other dimension they live in that's connected to our world or whatever. But they're separated by what he calls the veil of the Nor, this like shield of light. And that's what hides their world from ours. And he also says that the Nor is that world's energy source. We find out that the clandestines want to tear down the veil, which apparently will then basically turn our dimension into their dimension.
Their dimension,
It'll like overtake ours.
Overtakes ours or something, yeah.
Some bullshit. And like, would that necessarily be a bad thing? I don't know. Like, maybe their dimension's cool. I don't know. Let's see. Oh, so like, Waleed says that like he's apparently seen at least one of these bangles before, but he's like, I've never seen writing on the bangle before, and he reads it, and he says it says, quote, "What you seek is seeking you." Any thoughts on what that means?
Seeking death.
Grandmother, I guess.
Oh, that's probably it, isn't it?
Yeah.
You ruined the mystery.
Very obvious. From A to B.
So now we go over to the DODC, where Kamran and the clandestines like pretty easily escape the DODC custody. But like as they're escaping, basically Najma like banishes Kamran from the group because he betrayed him. He let Kamala in on the plan or whatever.
Yeah, what was it? She just left him behind in the Supermax or something?
Yeah, they left him behind. Like I assume like he made it out because he was free, but they don't actually show that.
Oh.
So Kamala gets like this fabric from Waleed, and like I'm thinking, okay, she's gonna turn that into like the Miss Marvel costume from the comic books, which is almost like in the comics she almost wears kind of like a dress, like a short dress or whatever. But no, it's just like a Walmart vest.
Yeah.
And she just like puts it on and is like, oh, okay.
That was weird too. I was like, that's her big transformation.
Yeah, that's like a shitty costume. Oh, I got this fucking vest.
Little tiny vest.
So that was lame. And like at the same time, like right before that, like she's kind of like messing around with the bangle, and I think the Wali guys mentioned that like her DNA like allows her to be more powerful or something. I don't know, but like almost instantly, then the clandestines just like break through the roof of this Red Dagger facility. Waleed fights them off and basically allows him, Kareem, and Kamala to escape on like this like motorcycle attached to a golf cart type thing. I think they maybe call it like a tuk-tuk or something in real life. Something like that. So now there's like this kind of shitty chase where like they're on that thing and the clandestines steal like a van. And Kamala basically just makes like a construct, like ramp type thing that they crash into, and it like tips them over. Oh, yeah. Not super impressive or anything. So then Kamala and Kareem, like they separate the motorcycle from the cart, so now they're just on the motorcycle. But then I wrote they almost immediately wreck, and I thought this was funny. Like she makes a construct like to help break their fall, but it's basically just like a thin layer of the construct over the pavement. I'm like, how did this help them at all? It doesn't look like it did.
Yeah, it didn't like slow their fall or anything, and it was literally like a millimeter just above the concrete.
Right. I'm like, it basically just looks like she painted the concrete with her. I'm like, how did this help at all?
Imagine that hurt pretty much equal.
Exactly. Like, I'm like, this did fucking nothing. It wasn't worth the special effects budget. It was so stupid. Okay, so then I wrote, Kamala gets in this truck and drives a stick shift, which she almost certainly couldn't do because we did establish.
All you need is reverse and first.
We established in episode 1 that she can't even drive a regular car. We're supposed to believe that she would know how to drive a stick shift. Like, I don't think she would even be able to take off in this fucking thing.
No, she wouldn't.
I did not buy that at all. Anyway, she conveniently like hits one of the bad guys with the truck. And that allows like her and Kareem to run off. So like there's this point where like they're kind of separated, like Kamala and Kareem are together running from some guys, and Waleed is on his own but running from some guys. A guy almost catches up to Kamala and gets him, but Waleed like hits him with a dagger. But then Najma like shows up and stabs and kills Waleed, I guess. I also wrote this I didn't get at all. So Kareem, he grabs like this fucking like canister. I don't know what it is. And
It just says flammable.
conveniently there's like this like boiling pot of water or something, and he throws it in there. So it makes like this explosion of the water go up. I'm like, but what did that fucking do? Did it just like barely like scald that one lady or something?
Right,
She's like, ah.
she turns around and goes, ah, and it was the worst.
It
And
was
he had
so
like
stupid.
5 minutes to chill after that too. They like planned and talked about what they're gonna do. I was like, she just turned her back for a second. Like she can't recoup from this whole thing. Like
That part was especially like low budget. I was like, what the fuck is this? It's so stupid and convenient, but also so shitty. Like, I got a flammable canister. I'll throw it in there. It'll barely, like, I guess, scald the bad
Also, if
lady or whatever.
something says flammable, why is your first thought to throw it in water?
Yeah.
it's
So that part was so fucking stupid. I'm like, God damn it.
yeah. Also, I'm not a chemist, but boiling water isn't the same thing as fire to a to a flammable object, right? Like they're gonna react differently.
I mean, there are definitely chemicals that react to water in explosive ways,
okay.
but yeah.
I mean, I assume there are, like, certain things that are flammable, and also, like, it was contents under pressure, so, like, I assume if it got hot enough, like, it could, like, cause an explosion, but still, it was fucking stupid.
Yeah, it was.
But like you said, yeah, that allows them to kind of get away for a minute, and they run into like a dead end of this like fabric factory or textiles or some bullshit. Anyway, the bad guys catch up to them. They get into a fight, which goes for a little bit until Najma shows up. She stabs the Bengal with a dagger, and it triggers a vision. Well, I assume it's a vision of the night with the train. So now like Kamala's like in the vision. She sees like her grandmother and her great grandmother walk by, and it's just like she goes on top of the train, and she's just seeing like what was going on that night with everybody in the partition and like trying to get out of there or whatever. And that's where it ends. And even that, I'm like, that's not a very compelling end.
Yeah.
Like, like, ooh, I can't wait to see the story we already have been told.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know, like, there's nothing enticing, really.
And I feel like they have plenty of opportunity to jump into like, who was that blue dude who was dead with the thing, on his arm, and what is the backstory of this world you come from, and like this dimension and stuff like that. Like what
I mean,
is all that?
I assume like we're probably going to get a tease of that world like in the next episode, but like I think it's going to be too little, too late.
Yeah.
I'm just like I'm not compelled by these villains. They're pretty lame, and I just like I don't know. Like I was thinking about this show and Hawkeye, and I was thinking like That last episode of Hawkeye like pissed me off enough that I think I still hate Hawkeye more. But at the same time, any of the other episodes of Hawkeye probably are better than all these episodes of this show we've watched. Like,
Yeah.
it's just, I don't know. It's not clicking with me. Like,
Yeah. No, it's boring.
Yeah. I feel like Feige has like had the least contact with this show, at least when it comes to like sussing out like the whole Marvel Cinematic Universe's connection to it right now.
I mean, my guess is he probably has less involvement with the TV stuff, like overall, like less so than the movies, I would imagine, anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Disney's having so much success. They might have just said, hey, let's get somebody pumping out some B team quality stuff
They
here.
did it before. Yeah.
They do it with their other shows. They'll make a hit and then they'll do a couple shitty spin-offs or, quick money grabs off of them.
I mean, to be fair, like this show is aimed at a younger audience, but I don't even know if that's a good excuse for why it's not connecting.
Even good writing for kids is generally, it goes two ways because you generally have stuff for adults and children, but children might not get some of the deeper references that adults would get.
Yeah.
I feel like to me it's not even like the characters, it's more just like the writing. Like, because I don't mind Kamala as like a character. I don't mind most of her family members as characters, but like they're not doing anything very compelling.
Yeah, it's kind of boring, and like I feel like a lot of what I've seen has been relatively predictable. The action's generic. It's just
And the jokes fall flat, man. Like they just aren't funny.
I haven't had any good laughs out of it.
Yeah, like did you guys even think for a minute that the clandestine people weren't the bad guys when they were first introduced? I was like, these guys of course are going to be the bad guys.
Yeah.
I just thought they would be smarter about how they go about things.
Yeah, I mean, I was pretty certain from the time they stopped and picked her up in the car. I was like, well, okay, the bad guy has finally appeared at the end of episode 2.
Right.
Yeah, they're like a chicken with their head cut off, the bad guys. They don't have a plan. They don't have anything. They're just kind of helter-skelter.
Generic anger out of one woman.
Yeah, like really lame villains. I don't even know in 2 episodes if this show can like
Redeem itself.
redeem itself and
Yeah.
like turn itself around. And I
Well,
guess
they haven't built up anything and they have to finish it.
the thing is, it's not like I don't hate the show. It's just it's so bland.
Yeah.
I don't like actively like hate anything about it. But it's just like I'm just like Jesus. Like I don't know. It's like boring.
Yeah, it is. Like before watching the show, I kind of like I'm like, oh man, here it goes. Here's a chore,
Right. Yeah, that's another thing. Is like I wasn't like looking forward.
Yeah.
Like Moon Knight, like I was like, oh, like kind of looking forward to each episode because I was like, this is compelling enough that okay, yeah, I'm in.
Yeah, and each episode like built off of the last
Right.
one really well.
Yeah, and this one just like I said, even the way this episode ends, it's like, well, the cliffhanger is kind of going into a story like we already kind of know.
Yeah.
Like you told us about it already, and it's like I don't know if you're gonna give me a revelation that's gonna make me too interested in it.
Yeah, if it's like 90% the same story, and then they add like one new detail, it's gonna be like, all right, we had to rehear that story a third time now. Like,
Yeah, I don't know, there might be a surprise, but there's no mystery, I guess.
Yeah, I think I'm down to like 5 out of 10 territory with this show.
I'm
yeah, I
lower
can
than
see
that.
I mean, I'm hoping it can redeem itself. But again, we talked about like, oh, maybe with a season 2 they could do better. But like, do you guys want a season 2 out of this show?
nah.
It would have to be doing good ratings.
I kind
outside.
of feel like maybe, filter Kamala into other stuff and hope that like, she takes off or something.
Well, I figure they'll make like a kids superhero team soon, right?
Yeah, I want to talk about because that seems like from the beginning something they've been angling with these shows, right? Because Yeah, because like WandaVision introduced her kids, which I mean, technically ended up being not real, but
Right.
they apparently are in other dimensions and can come back somehow. And then Winter Soldier and Falcon or whatever, like they didn't really spotlight him, but the what is his name, Isaiah Bradley, his grandson or whatever. He's a superhero in the comics, Patriot or something, I want to say. I don't forget what his name is. And then Loki had Kid Loki.
Right.
And then, of course, Hawkeye had, what's her name, Bishop? Kate Bishop?
Yeah.
Yeah. And now Miss Marvel. Moon Knight didn't really introduce any teenage heroes, but I do kind of feel like so many of these have introduced like younger characters that I'm like, yeah, they're going to make like a Young Avengers or Champions type team show.
Yeah, I know they're making that show Ironheart too. So.
Oh, right. So she would fit in.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got to be angling for something like that with these TV shows, right? There's just too many of them, it seems like.
Mm-hmm. I think they're going to all their comics, they're going to start just letting loose, man. Making all these stories. Midnight Suns, all that stuff. They're already making a video game for Midnight Suns.
Oh, yeah. But it's like, isn't it like kind of a weird like strategy card game or something?
I don't know. I didn't really play it or anything. No.
I didn't see any gameplay of it or anything, but I want to say it's kind of like a weird like strategy game rather than just like an action game.
Oh, okay. That's a weird way to go.
It is. Yeah, it is. Yeah, I don't know if it's the kind of game I would be interested in, but they are making a Wolverine game. The same people that made the Spider-Man games are making Wolverine, so that
should be fun.
I'd like them to make a Daredevil game. It'd probably play a lot like Batman, but like you could do some cool stuff with like, his, hearing powers could be like a detective mode basically.
Okay.
And then like he's got like some cool like rogues gallery people too. I think that would be fun. But yeah, this show overall, like, let's fingers crossed for the final 2 episodes, but I don't have huge hopes for Miss Marvel. I don't know.
Yeah, it's not great.
I hate to be this guy, but the book was better. At least the initial like G. Willow Wilson comic book run was pretty good.